What is wrong with this human? Your cat, who's been tolerating living as a pet for several years now, may be wondering. Even if you've been the proud owner of a feline, there are some mistakes you could be making without knowing it. What are they? How dangerous are they? And could your cat ever forgive you? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome to Furry Feline Facts, a perfect catalog of cat stats. In today's video, we're gonna bring you the top mistakes you're making with your cat. If you're not already a follower of Furry Feline Facts, meow is the time to click the subscribe and notification bell. And if you are, give yourself a round of applause. Okay, enough kidding around. It's meow or never. Meowing back to your cat. Starting off on a lighthearted note, one of the first mistakes you could be making is waiting for your cat to meow at you, and then meowing right back like it makes sense. When your cat tilts its head at you when you do that, it's not because you have miraculously become the first person to become fluent in cat speak. It's because, to her, you're speaking utter nonsense, even if you try your best to mimic the same tone. What you do with their information is up to you. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to stop meowing back at your cat. Just know that it probably thinks of you as her gibberish-speaking person. But hey, at least you're her person. Leaving the food out all day long. Someone probably told you that cats are as self-sufficient as a pet can be, and all you need to do is leave the dry food out all day long and the cat will feed itself on its own schedule. While we would never question cats' clearly impeccable judgment and choices, this is a big no-no. 60% of cats in the United States alone are obese or overweight, and that could directly be blamed on their well-meaning owners leaving the bowl of food out at all times. Let's put it like this. If someone left you an entire pizza, or your favorite burger or dessert, right on the counter there all day long, even if you aren't hungry, you'll be tempted to nibble on that pizza or take a bite every time you pass by it. By the end of the day, it's almost for certain that the pizza would be gone. So if you're leaving the food bowl out all day, especially if it contains kibble high in protein, add a few years of overeating, and it's no wonder your cat might be a little chunky. Keep plants in reach. Plants and flowers can really bring life to a room as decoration. And sure, right now, that vase of tulips looks really pretty on your dining room table. But they won't be so beautiful after all when your cat inevitably gets curious about them and starts to nibble on them. There are hundreds of plants that are toxic to cats and dogs, including tulips and lilies. It's a thing with cats. They love chewing on what they know we don't want them to. And before you say this part of the plant couldn't be poisonous, if a plant is overall poisonous, it's safe to assume that all parts of it are. Even some parts have higher concentrations. So if you're going to put out a plant, just make sure beforehand that it's not toxic, or pretty impossible to reach for any curious, mischievous kitty cat. Not respecting their boundaries. Just because she's so fluffy you could squeeze her doesn't mean you should. It's a universal agreed upon fact that cats are amazing fluff balls, worthy of all the cuddles. But to put a twist on that Jurassic Park quote, cat owners are so preoccupied with whether they could, but they didn't stop to think if they should. If you're wondering how you could possibly read a cat's mystical mind and know if you should or shouldn't pet her, don't worry, she'll let you know. Cats aren't dogs. They're the complete opposite when it comes to certain things. They're more curious creatures, sensitive to know from the first time you approach them how you act as you pet them, and if you're doing it right. Each cat varies in how much she likes to be pat or held. Some are natural-born cuddle buddies. Some will hiss and bat you away if you try to pick her up. So one of the top mistakes you could make, one that will ultimately damage your relationship with her, is forcing an interaction on her. Another mistake is thinking that means your cat doesn't love you. Even if your cat won't let you pet her or hold her, that doesn't mean she doesn't adore you in her unique way. She may still play with you, follow you around, and even allow the occasional kiss. One of the most telling tells, except the obvious of course, being in the form of hissing, biting, and scratching, is the wiggling tail. Watch out for that wiggling tail. If you see it, run, or just stop the action you're doing right now because your kitty is clearly uncomfortable. A wagging or wiggling tail is a sure tell sign of displeasure. And it's also a warning. And hey, Now that you're speaking about what to watch out for, here's another beginner mistake: staring directly into your cat's eyes for a long period of time. We get it, they're fascinating, majestic creatures. But stare too long into the abyss and it starts to stare back. Or mistake your staring as aggression or a signal for a fight. Food and water bowls, you're doing it wrong. The next part features a couple of mistakes with the placement of your cat's food and water bowls. For one thing, did you know that you shouldn't place the water too close to the food? When you're first setting up, it makes sense, right? Put the bowls together, as the cat is clearly going to spend a lot of time there anyway. Wrong. What ends up happening is this: dust and fur and flyaway hairs end up inevitably dropping in the water bowl and flat on the surface, much to your cat's disgust. This is an easy enough to mend mistake, and is solved by putting a respectful distance between the bowls or getting one of those pet fountains that filters water. The second item on the docket is the shape of your food bowl. Yes, there is a right and wrong one. Have you ever heard of whisker fatigue? It's a thing, and your cat may suffer from it without you knowing. And it may be entirely your fault if you do this. Cats can feel uncomfortable if their food bowls have a diameter that's smaller than the span of their whiskers. As they eat, their whiskers will keep touching the sides, and eventually that starts to feel unpleasant. When you think about it, how did it not make sense sooner? Cats use their whiskers to navigate the world, and they're incredibly sensitive to touch. If they're constantly being knocked around and pushed back, it causes the cat pain and stress that may escalate into them associating that stress with eating. Even if a bowl is wide enough but is too deep, it may cause a problem as well, as this leaves two situations on your hands: a cat that's hungry and frustrated she can't reach the bottom, and a lot of wasted kibble. Locking the doors. If you plan on keeping your cat confined to a small section of your house or a room, remember that you're still dealing with an animal with natural instincts to roam and explore and hunt, not just a small fluffy pet to cuddle with at your convenience. If your cat isn't allowed outside, at least allow her enough freedom to roam your home. You may have noticed already that your cat can't stand the concept of a closed door and will persistently either wait outside one or scratch and push at it until it's open. Some even learn how to open them. Avoid this mistake of stressing your cat and give her free reign of the house, especially your bathroom. Everyone knows that cats have an odd love for bathrooms. Not taking care of your cat's teeth. Just like humans, cats need dental care. Every day their teeth come into contact with a lot of bacteria. This eventually builds up to form plaque, which then may lead to periodontal disease. Cats then suffer from loose teeth and inflamed gums that bother them every time they eat and leave them in constant pain. Save her the pain, and you the expensive trip to the vet for a costly tooth extraction by nipping this mistake before it happens. Ask your vet about cat toothpaste and brush her teeth daily. If your cat doesn't allow you near her with a toothbrush, ask your vet for alternative methods. Not minding their sensitivity. Just because your cat seems to have infallible, unshakable attitude doesn't mean she's not incredibly sensitive. When it comes to some senses, cats have stronger senses than dogs even. For one thing, they can hear better than dogs and are able to detect higher frequencies. Think about that the next time you play music unbearably loud with her in the room, or too close to her when she's sleeping. Also, make sure to mind her sense of smell by keeping a light hand when spraying strong scented perfumes, or when using cleaning products. There's a multitude of smells cats actually despise. These include citrus, eucalyptus, and citronella. See, while we humans have around 5 million odor sensors in our noses, cats have a whopping 200 million. That means their sense of smell is, 14 times better than ours? Save them the potential sneezing fit or stress, and the risk of them not spending time with you, and keep their sensitivity in mind. Well, there you have it, a little information on the top mistakes you make with your cat. I hope you've learned a lot in this episode. What has been your experience with your cat and rectifying it? Is there any hope for forgiveness? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to Furry Feline Facts, a perfect catalog of cat stats. And hit that notification bell to be sure you don't miss any of our pawsome content. We'll see you next time.